Okay, this is Sig Gorski. It's Tuesday, August 16th, 2011. I'm here at the site of an intersection collision here in the rural areas of Lambton County. This is the intersection of Nauvoo Road and also Egremont. What you see here is a view looking somewhat eastbound and slightly south. And what we have is a vehicle, a northbound vehicle. Now, just describe this here as it's said as it's said in the newspaper. A two-vehicle crash occurred Monday afternoon. Lambton OPP said a Pontiac Bonneville was westbound. So in other words, it's coming toward me here along the main road. And a northbound Chevrolet Cobalt came through the stop sign, and a collision occurred kind of in the middle of the intersection where I laid down some tape. The northbound Cobalt driver is being charged to, probably with failing to yield, but it's not always it's not always fair, I suppose, because it's not always clear that the charge should be laid against the person who's traveling through the stop sign, and particularly when we look at the evidence here. And first of all, we see that the way this road is designed over here in the background for westbound drivers, you can see there's a left turn lane, and it's pulling vehicles out to the right, and so they're traveling further out, just like this vehicle here gets hit right there. The westbound vehicles are traveling further out to the right, and it's causing a greater difficulty for these northbound vehicles to get through the intersection because they have to travel over a longer distance. And also although the visibility is obviously clear to the southeast for both drivers, it's not always clear to the northbound driver that the vehicle that's traveling westbound is traveling at great speed. And it's also not clear to the police officer who comes out to the site that there is actually a fair amount of speed involved. Unless you have an event data recorder and you're willing to download it and take a look at the data, you won't really notice that. And in some of these cases, for example, this is a minor PI, personal injury collision, the download may not take place, and so you may not be aware of the speed of this westbound vehicle. Now, you have to kind of take a look at the physical evidence and see what indicates a high speed. And so if we come over here and look at this area where the point of impact is, for example, there's no skid marks here from this westbound vehicle. This northbound vehicle has had to travel a fair distance, but when we look at pre-crash here, there's no skid marks from this vehicle traveling westbound. Once the impact occurs and both vehicles get tossed into the ditch area here, take a look at the evidence of travel here from probably this is the westbound vehicle going way off in the hedge over there. It's gone 53 meters from the point of impact to final rest. And same thing with the other vehicle, which is probably going to be, I'm going to assume it is the northbound vehicle. It also goes 49 meters to final rest over there. Now you take a look at some of this evidence of deceleration. You want to take a look at, see how quickly was this vehicle being decelerated. And you see a gouge in here of the earth. You see that there are just slight markings here. The tire has just passed this anchorage point of this yellow anchor for this post. And then you can clearly see the tire marks in here, as well as some gouging out of the grass. Interestingly, there's one little settled down point of the tire right here. The right tire. You can just see the depression in the grass where the vehicle has come down. And you can see the scraping here along the left side of the vehicle. I imagine the vehicle is going frontwards, and there's no rotation. And it comes all the way into this hedge area where it then makes a mess out of the trunk of that hedge down underneath there that you can see. So this is about 51 meters. Again, from point of impact over there to final rest, and there's a fair bit of scraping going on through the grass. So, the police officer looks at this and says, well, what kind of deceleration should I put to this if I'm going to do a speed calculation? And it's not very clear sometimes. And unless you're going to be absolutely certain, then you're not going to lay the charge, because the charge is just going to get thrown out. So it's difficult for that officer to identify the speed. Now, if we look at the other vehicle, back over here, here's the same thing. Coming along right by that tripod, you can see the scraping taking place on one side of the vehicle. I suspect that maybe there's a tire mark over here, which is not very obvious and clear, but the one on the left is damaged. And so we proceed on, and you can just follow this damaged area. And again, I believe the vehicle is traveling forwards. There's no rotation. There's no rotation in both these vehicles. And we try and find the final rest position, which is difficult to find. The only thing here is that there is some kind of stuff here, oily substance right about here. And when we find an oily substance, that's usually the final rest position. So this is where I've taken the final rest position, and again, it's 49 meters to the point of impact. So once again, we got this one doing 49 meters after impact, the one over there doing 53. That's quite a bit. Whichever vehicle comes down here toward the west, one of them at least was not going in this westbound direction. It had to be pushed all the way over here. Fortunately, because of the way the impact occurred, if you think about the northbound vehicle gets struck in the right side, not in the driver's side. And so that's fortunate to that driver. You may recall Sunday, I took an examination of a site to the southwest of Stratford, and there we had a fatality, but the impact was to the driver's side, and yet both vehicles after impact traveled a short distance. So you can see how these things can kind of happen, that you may be traveling at a slower speed, the impact may be less severe, but the impact is to the driver's side of the vehicle, and we have a fatality. Over here we have an impact to the right side of the vehicle. The vehicles go a long distance, they indicate higher speed, but no fatality, just a personal injury collision. And then the northbound driver is charged with traffic fine, which is not always fair, but that's the way the system runs at this time. And until we have more downloads of event data recorders, this is going to continue, and hopefully that will change. We'll just stop for now.